Okay, I'm waiting on the notification, sir. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast with us this afternoon. We have an amazing guest with us, one who is going to give us some information as well as some inspiration, and that is our brother out of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Brother Nuridin Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come with us on the People's Podcast today. My sister Miriam extends the greetings as well. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, boom. Brother Nuridin, before we went live, we were discussing your that you were got into carpentry. How did you get into that?
Well, I would like to Muhammad is his messenger and exalted Christ, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine leader, teacher, and guide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that, my brother, my father, we had a 2-bedroom house, and he made it into a 7-bedroom house. And I was one of the helpers, and that's how my carpentry skills started in that sense.
Yes, sir.
And from there, I worked with carpenters throughout my community and the city that I lived in, and got, additional skills. And I worked with Brother Rashid and learned some more skills. But my carpenter skills, we worked in Atlanta one time when Brother Vance was the minister in Atlanta.
Okay.
And
yes,
I
sir.
worked
Yes, sir.
Crenshaw when they had the mosque in LA. I did a little work in Phoenix, and then I stayed in Chicago for a whole year working on Mosque Mariam and the university for a year. And then I worked on Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's house for a whole year also.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. And how did you get to go to Chicago for a whole year? What was that experience like?
Well, my first experience, brother, I was in LA, and the minister asked for carpenters to come to refurbish Mosque Mariam and the University of Islam. And from there, I didn't know whether or not I was going to go, but then I decided I was going to go. And then the question came up, if you go, you're not going to get paid. I said, I don't care if I don't get paid. I just want to work. And when I got there, I actually got paid. I didn't care. I just wanted to be there. And I went to Chicago, and Allah blessed me to get a carpenter's job, and I got paid. And the Nation of Islam paid real
good. Beautiful. Well, Brother Nuridin, what was it about you that you could just leave your family and not worry about getting paid to go, help build Mosque Mariam or help do the construction of Mosque Mariam?
This is ringing in my head. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan told us that whatever Allah needs, He arranges the forces of nature to bring it into being. And just so happens at that particular time in LA, they went on a strike. And when they went on a strike, I started drawing unemployment. And so my unemployment was enough money. It didn't matter whether I got paid or not. I was going to still get paid.
Okay, yes, sir. Beautiful. Yes, sir. And I want to read to you some of the comments. My sister Miriam, Naima, Sister Naomi says, Assalamu alaikum, go pops. Brother Elijah Muhammad says, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam to you all. They're giving you greetings as well. And thank you, Brother Elijah, for being the plug. Brother Nuridin, how did you first hear the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad?
Well, brother, I grew up in a Baptist church. Grandfather was the preacher. Dad was the deacon. Everybody was in the choir. I went to church almost 7 days a week. And from there, they had prayer meeting in the house. I would leave one church, go to another church. So I was fully integrated in the church, and choir singing and prayer meetings. And so when the light of Islam came to me for the very first time, it was so bright, I shunned it because they told me that the man was God. I said, boy, are you crazy? How can a man be God? So the light was so bright at that particular time that I just shut it down. And from that time, periodically, the Muslims would come and bring the Muhammad Speak newspaper and would sell them. Even if I didn't buy it, I would give them the money because it was a black thing. I said, since y'all dealing with black folks, I'm gonna just give you the money. You can give that paper to somebody else, because that initial shock, a brightness of God or man, was too bright for me that I couldn't see through that darkness into the light. But Allah was after me, and I didn't even know. And I say that to say this: when I was a little boy, Allah showed me a vision, and in the vision, that it wasn't a fire, it was a black illumination. And when I went to it, a figure came out of it, and the figure was black. And that next morning, I got up and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I saw God, he was a black man. So that went away. The next time I saw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on an interview on TV. That interview on TV, I went and ran and got my mom. I said, Mom, come see this man. I ain't never seen a black man talk to a white man like this man is talking to him. That was my second initial initiation to Islam. But then I went in the military. And I have Pensacola, San Diego, Memphis. I was buying a final call, but I didn't understand it. Muhammad Speak. I'm saying final call, but I mean Muhammad Speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So one day I was sitting in the pool hall, losing my mind, playing pool, playing chess, and some brothers from the neighborhood came in. They said, man, do you know anything about soul food? I said, well, pig feet, pork chops. He said, do you know where they come from? That stunned. No, I had no idea why they call it soul food. And he went elaborated as to say, when the Caucasian killed the pig, he threw all the tail, the guts, the head, and all that on the trash pile. And the slaves took it off the trash pile and cooked it, and it became soul food. I said, man, where did you get that from? He said, them Muslims over there on a place called Casher Street, they talking Islam. I said, when the next meeting? So when the next meeting started, I went over there, and they had on the board a cross, a flag, of Islam, an American flag, and they said, which one you gonna follow? Islam. And as he started the teachings, before he stopped, I stood up and raised my hand and said, man, I want to join this. And that was my initial start in Islam.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful.
Praise be to Allah.
And what year was this, sir?
1973. 1973.
Yes, sir. And what was, how did your parents feel about that, feel about you accepting the teachings in 1973?
That's the worst thing I could have did. Because we were born and raised in the church. They thought it was a cult. And to hear, it's just so much controversy behind Islam. But the fact that I was raised in the church, I understood Jesus's journey and all the controversy that he had to go through. And I knew when I began to understand it, I knew that it was right, but they didn't understand it. And even though I couldn't explain it, the knowledge was there, but the understanding wasn't there. So as I continued to grow into the understanding, I was just like most everybody else. When I got this teaching, I would beat people up, knock them down, ask them questions, and just bombard them to show them, but that's the way I was. And that's the way most of us was back then. We didn't have enough understanding of how to share the light so our people could understand the teaching.
Yes, sir.
And accept the teachings. So my journey started, and bro, it was a rough. Everybody, all my friends, all my classmates, my mom and my dad, everybody turned against me because they thought I was in a cult. And it's like
Yes,
I
sir.
was the only person around at one point. And bro, it wasn't nice. But I survived by the grace of Allah.
Allahu Akbar. And did your family or friends, did they ever eventually understand your mission?
No, sir, they never did. It's like the whole see when Warren Dean, when the nation fell and Brother Warren Dean took over, it was two camps in Alexandria. The ones who followed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the ones who followed Warren Dean. And the city of Alexandria was working with Warren Dean, and we had about 4 businesses that they gave us some utility bill was so high we couldn't pay, so they shut us down. And then Washington continued to grow, and eventually they fell, but they was working with them in order to shut us down. And still, we were shut down, and we just left the city at that point.
Mm. And how was it when you heard that the Most High Elijah Muhammad, or when the Most High Elijah Muhammad departed? How did that affect you?
Well, because I was raised in the church and I knew Moses had to leave and go to the mountain and get the book, it didn't affect me like it affect most people. Because when the 10 Commandments first came out, my mother took me to see it. And when Moses left and went to the mountain, he left Aaron at the base. He came back down. Everybody didn't follow or didn't believe that really the Elijah has passed. But I look at it in this context. Time. I don't know the mathematics that deal with time. That some people can get a particular piece of knowledge, but at a later time, an understanding will come to them to let them know that they was on time. It's like when the Honorable Farrakhan says, "There's one more thing I got to do." He said that a lot of times, but it was based on time. Allah opened up His understanding and drop it in, and then He give it to us. But He has always been on time because what Allah is time in itself. So all I can say is all praises due to Allah. I was raised in the church and understood the life that Moses had to do. So we left, a group of us left, moved out in the country, moved in the woods, wooden stove, wooden heater, 100-pound sacks of beans and rice, and just stayed out there waiting on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to return. And that's where I came back to the nation. And I didn't even, the way I got back, bro, is a brother gave me a tape, a cassette tape of the Honorable Nuridin Farrakhan. I had never heard the Honorable Nuridin Farrakhan speak in my life. But the very first time I heard his voice, the very first words, Allah is not the witness, the very first words after I heard his tape, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has returned. And from there, I started to search to find. I was looking for Muhammad Speaks, but it wasn't Muhammad Speaks. It was the Final Call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And how I found the Final Call, the cassette tape was a tape that he spoke at a school in Lafayette, Louisiana. And at that school church was affiliated with the same church that my wife, Ali Muhammad, was affiliated with. So she heard the man's name called. She said, "That's Reverend so-and-so." I said, "We need to call Lafayette and that's how we called Lafayette. He gave us the address and the phone number to Chicago to the Final Call. And when I called the Final Call, and the rest is history, we've been here ever since '73.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, sir. And I want to make sure that I thank you for your sacrifice and thank your family for their sacrifice as well. That's an amazing introduction to Islam. So you 1973, how do you get from 1973 to now your name is Nuridin? How did that happen?
Name Nuridin.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when we was working on Mos Marianne, he said, I'm going to give all you brothers who working on the mosque a name. It may have been 30 or 40 of us. And eventually, as the work winded down, he called us to dinner. But the catch was the person who he told to tell us to come to dinner to get our name, he didn't tell us. He went, but he didn't tell us. And when the minister saw us, he asked us, he said, why y'all didn't come to dinner? Say, nobody told us. Then at that point, he gave Brother Rashid his name. He gave me a name. He gave another brother, Salahuddin, his name. But the difference was he spelt the way he spelt it in the understanding of the meaning of the name. He told me to call him at his house at the palace, and he was going to give me the correct spelling and give me the meaning of the name. And that's what I did. About a week later or a few days later, I called the palace. He gave me my name. He gave Salahuddin his name, and he gave us both the meaning of our name. And I, in turn, gave it to him. But out of 40-some brothers, he only gave 4 names. And I was blessed to be one of the 4 that he gave a name to.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, now, Brother Nuridin, I'm born and raised in the Nation of Islam, and I've been around. I grew up in Chicago, so I've been around the ministry, and I've heard a lot of names that he's given. I never heard the name Nuridin. What's the science on it? Like, what did he tell you?
Brother, is the meaning got some people upset, and I didn't give myself the name, and I didn't give myself the meaning. He said, the light of the faith. And that's the meaning of the name. How can you be the light? I said, bro, I didn't give myself the name. I said, the Mr. Farrakhan gave me that. I'm just saying to you what he told me. And that, I mean, just to, for someone to get upset with whatever the minister says, like coming out of Allah, his mouth himself.
Yes, sir.
And that's all that matters to me. Whatever the Mr. Farrakhan says, because when he told us Allah has never left us, that is a fact. Allah come in the person of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan.
That's right. That's right.
Allah come in the person of you, Joshua.
Yes, sir.
Because
yes, sir.
the truth that comes out of our mouth, we had nothing to do with that. The truth is Islam.
Right.
The truth is Allah. Our truth is Allah. The words, Allah self-created himself. And he self-created everything, and he made a word out of it. And he gave understanding to it. He gave wisdom to it. And every time we think it's Allah that we have to give the praise to. We can't take the credit for nothing of good. But the bad, we got to take all the
credit. But Nuridin, you told me this was about like probably a month ago or 2 months ago when you were speaking about meeting my father or talking to my father. You saying that you had worked at the minister's farm. What was it like working at the farm?
Brother, the closer you get to the minister, the harder the test gets. Because you have to be mindful of his children, his family, all the people that surround him. But then you have to be respectful of the man of God. Because we never have been taught how to act in the presence of the man of God.
Yes, sir.
I saw him talk to some brothers, and they was totally disrespectful, but the way he handled it, he took what they said, he brought it to a conclusion, then he gave it back to them on a platter that you just had to eat the food that he gave. He was, this man, let me regress. One day I was in the basement of his house. He came down and I asked him, I say, brother, minister, may I ask you a question? And he in his spirit, he said, Yes, Brother Nuridin. I'm going to set it up. This is what I was trying to ask him. I have never been taught how to act in the presence of a divinely guided man.
Yes,
if I've said anything, if I've done anything, he never would let me say that. Every time I tried to say that, he stopped me. But, and this is what his words to me, brother. It's so hold dear to me today. He said, Brother Nuridin. I said, yes, sir. I know exactly what you're trying to say. I am just your brother. It blew me away. Well, nobody that was being here. It just blew me away. It stuck with me, and it's with me to the day that the man of God told me out of his mouth, I am just your brother. If he had anything in him that wasn't right, he could have took advantage of me, make me rob somebody, maybe kill somebody. But no, he is genuine. He is who he say he is.
Yes, sir.
Because the Quran and the scripture bear witness to who he is in the sense, prior to 75 said it is expedient for me to go away.
Yes,
the
sir.
messenger, because if I don't go, the comforter can't come.
Yes,
the
sir.
comforter is going to guide you into all things. And that's exactly what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has been doing, guiding us into all things. Everything that we knowledge is not understanding. And most of us know of Allah, but don't know Allah.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir.
And that's our problem. We can't see except our own be ourselves. When we accept our own be ourselves, every time I see a black man or black woman, I'm actually looking at God. And if we don't fully understand it, we mistreat one another because we don't understand it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because when we understand, brother, we love each other the exact same way we love him.
That's right.
So that's, that one incident. I met Mother Khadijah, the perfect MDT. Her humility is grace itself. We didn't see a lot of words to her, but even it's like when she walks, she's walking on air. When the minister walks, she's walking on. I mean, I'm not trying to fool nobody, but to be in their presence is to see that spirit and to know that God is with them. And they Allah loved us so much that he gave us examples to put in our presence for us. If we don't even have to know now, we just have to look at it. And we just looked at it and understood what we saw when we saw him and his family, his children. Incident with Brother Mustafa. He told me one day, him and his wife came out there in the truck and he called us over, me and Brother Rashid, and introduced us to his wife. He said, these two brothers, I know they love my father. That's how he introduced them. Brother, it's just so many things that have happened to me. Even with my beloved brother Lewis, the minister's son, me and him became friends, bro. We was friends.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
I mean, friends. I mean, he was tough, and he loved his father.
Yes, sir.
Because
yes,
he tested me one day. He loved his father. So I love them because they who they are. Yes, sir.
Bro Nuridin, you spoke of your wife being with you for so many years. What has been the key to your marriage?
Let me go back. When I first accepted Islam, I was married. My first wife left me because I accepted Islam.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My second wife, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad left, brothers lost their mind because one of the greatest tests is that we fail. When the messenger left, they start taking on more than one wife. That was a test that I hope and pray that we don't visit again. And so the captain at that time me and my second wife was going through problems, but he gonna get us together and bring us together. But in essence, he was actually breaking us apart because he would say things to me and I would say things about my wife. He would go to my wife and say things that I said to him, and she would say things to him and said to me. So instead of bringing us together, it took us apart. And after we departed, he married a 4th wife. So he had about 3 or 4 wives, you know.
Yeah, man. And Brother Nuridin, did you hurt the brother? Did you?
No. No. Bro, no, I didn't hurt him because of this one issue. Your wives, your children, your wealth is only a test for you. Because I was thinking, and I think to this day, people come into Islam for the right reason. I was sort of like, I wasn't gullible, but my heart was that all you had to tell me is that you want for your brother what you want for yourself, and you got it from me. You got my money, you got my car, anything I had you could get. Because I had my own business, I had 18 girls. And I eventually lost it because they would come to me for money. And when you got a note on an 18-wheeler of $900 and you give them all your money, and in turn, one brother in particular, I gave him so much money, he come back and gonna pay me in food stamps, you know. I lost my truck, bro. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. I lost my truck. But no one now, I'm a different person now. You just can't come to me and tell me anything now, because I have learned how to listen. Because Mother Tanetta Muhammad taught us, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. The sound. It's not what you say sometimes, it's how you say it.
Yes, sir.
Because
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The heavens and the earth, which is this physical body, 3/4 water, 1/4 land.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Submits to Allah. It submits. But so when your thoughts ain't right, your physical body gonna show the person if they know what to look for and listen to, knowing that they're coming to you wrong. That's the way Allah has created this body. But man, I can't thank the Honorable Minister Farrakhan enough, because he have given us as a nation everything we need. We have no excuse not to make it. Everything we need. Because prior to 75, I was told that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called the ministers in, and he taught the ministers, and the ministers bring the information back to teach us. Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us the same identical information. Those 21 study guides, bro, all the books that he wrote, all the books that Brother Jabril wrote, all the books that Mother Tanetta Muhammad wrote, we don't have no excuse not to make it. If we don't make it, it's because we ain't doing what we're supposed to do to make it.
Yes, sir.
Nobody can stop it, because all fault lies within ourselves. Because when I was reading the Quran the other day, it talks about triple darkness. And the minister taught us about triple darkness. In the womb of darkness, everything exists.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfection and imperfection is both present at the same time. He set it in motion. Even the flaws and the faults and the weakness that we have within ourselves, he has to create the circumstances and the conditions to make them manifest. So we rub each other. Look, we rub each other the wrong way sometimes. That's just like a washing machine with a bunch of dirty clothes in it bumping each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
God is the God that when we bump each other, we not supposed to say this nigga, that, excuse the term, point the finger, start setting up a camp. We supposed to thank Allah. Thank you, Allah, for making what was hid in me manifest so I can deal with it. But you know how we do it, how we've been doing it. And I'm so grateful and thankful to Allah that I'm not trying to go down that road no more, because I've been there, done that, saw that, and saw the effects of it. And all I'm trying to do now is striving to be the best believer. I didn't say Muslim, believer I can be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And but Brother Nuridin, are you ever planning on going into the ministry?
let me tell you about my wife.
Yes, sir.
That MGT, brother, that black God, it was a great blessing for me, for the minister to start teaching us about the second self of God. See, the world that we grew up in the scriptures say, born in the world of sin. The part they leave out, shaped in iniquity. What was in the world that caused us to go contrary to God's will? Because if you have insurance, babies are not sinners. That's something that's learned. So when the minister started teaching about the second self of God, the black woman, I started to listen to my wife. I didn't know she had so much to talk about because I never listened.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And when I started to listen to her, I saw the God in her. But what made me see it so quick, prior to 75, brothers used to teach their wives and used to teach their wives that they was God and they was subservient to them, below them. And when the wife is the balancer in the life, that when you get out, one of her jobs is to pull your coattail and get you back straight. But if you teaching teaching your wife just to submit to you, and you could be wrong, when you fall off, she fall off too.
You teaching? Yes, sir.
I saw that. So
teaching?
when the minister started teaching about the second self of God, and my wife, you talking about study, she studies. And when she's studying, I don't bother. I used to see her sit in the bed, books all the way around her studying all day. So that was a good thing. And when the MGT captain, I don't know her holy name, started teaching the sisters all this, man, I was so happy when I saw them learning, because the stronger they are, the stronger we gonna be. When they submit to God, they gonna make sure we on point. So I got one of the good MGTs, bro. I mean, I got a blessing that I haven't yet fully realized how blessed I really am, because I ain't there yet. I'm still on the journey, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Brother Nuridin, so you're saying that as men, we should listen to women, our woman, our wife, we should listen to them? They might have something to say?
Look, the second, listen at the word now. I didn't say these. These come out the minister's mouth. Second self of God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whatever Allah needs, it's going to come through what? The womb of a mother. So we supposed to cherish her. We supposed to protect her. We supposed to love her. We supposed everything good that we can do for her. Because making sure that she's secure, she's going to make sure you're secure. Because she ain't going to let nothing happen to her security, bro.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The more we secure her, the more she in tune with the God to keep us or help us stay in tune with ourselves. Beautiful. And then she's going to give you some levels.
Yes, sir.
And my wife, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, speaking of that, I see a lot of you in the comments. Thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. And I see a lot of people in the comments saying, go Pops, go Daddy, go Father. So apparently you have quite a few children. What advice would you give to future fathers?
I have 13 children, brother. And I have a number of brothers and sisters that's called myself and my wife Mom and Pop. We have come in contact with throughout, our journey.
Yes, sir.
Is that, and let me tell you how I got to 13 first. When I married my wife, she had a little girl, and the little girl wasn't even walking. And that's my oldest daughter. We never used the word stepchildren in our house. That's divisive. It was children. My children, her children. Family. That's the way it was. And my first daughter, when my wife, like I didn't know when she was pregnant, but when I married her, she had her. She wasn't even walking. But she told me in the little town that she was raised in that they wanted to give her a C-section because she overheard them saying the Black women have too many children. That's why we're going to give her a C-section. So they gave her a C-section And that's how my first daughter was born. But from there, she never wanted anybody else to touch her as far as Caucasian doctors. So when we start having children, I had to learn how to deliver children. So knowing that the word is God, the same books the doctors got, I went and got them too. And I studied the books, and I delivered 8 of my 13 children. And the rest of them, now, they was born before I had the knowledge. But I delivered just she and I. And I was driving 18-wheel at the time. But just about everyone, I cut the umbilical cord, the placenta.
Okay.
We did all of that, bro. I mean, and what I come to understand, bro, all this craziness when they be hollering, that's not even real. The more relaxed a woman is, the more comfortable that she's in, the easier it is for the delivery. It's like giving a woman a shot. When you tense up and you stick it in that muscle, it'll tear the muscle. But the more relaxed you are when you're having that baby, the easier it is for the baby to come out. And most of them just pop out. You just have to be there to catch it.
Okay.
And then that's how we got 13.
Okay. Praise be to Allah. Brother Nuridin, we're gonna stay right here for a minute. We're gonna stay right here for a minute. We're gonna stay right here for a minute. Okay. So you at 8 times, Brother Nuridin, you down 8 times by yourself.
Bruh, by the grace of Allah. Look, now I begin to understand what all praises due to Allah mean, bro. The wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding that we use. Because Allah created everything. Everything is a word. We have to think. Every thought you think, even the unseen things that you cannot see with your eye. If you hear sound, that's a word you hear. If you smell a smell, that's a word you smell. If you taste a taste, that's a word you. If you feel something, you can close your eyes and feel it. You know what it's a word. When Allah created, in the beginning was the word. That is true.
Yes, sir.
When He self-created Himself, everything He created, He made a name, He gave it wisdom, He gave it understanding, and all we have to do is follow it, and we can't go wrong. And look, and then Allah was so merciful to us, bro. He didn't just give us the word, He gave us a perfect example.
Yes, sir.
He gave us 2. He gave us Brother Jabril Muhammad. That man, bro, that is he ate at my house one time. Brother Jabril Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Bro, I mean, I'm so overwhelmed when I start thinking back of how Allah brought me to where I am now. And now that I can understand what it means to say all praises due to Allah.
Beautiful.
That's we have to understand, bro, we have to understand that. All praises due to Allah. I don't want nobody to see me. Because I ain't created nothing. I want to share with others what Allah has blessed me to come into understanding with, because I don't want nobody to have to go through what I went through to get where I am.
Yes, sir.
But everybody's not like that.
Okay, excellent, brother.
Well, I mean, some of these Muslims. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, brother. Can you? Yes, sir. I want to stay on the pregnancy thing because I want to understand this now. You weren't nervous?
Okay.
You weren't nervous?
Bruh, when it first happened, I was. But Allah blessed me to understand. He said, He don't have to be with a doctor in the hospital. He with you. He with His people. He not gonna leave His people. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, women ain't necessarily have to have a doctor to deliver a baby. And women have babies all the time and ain't nobody around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Look, so it's your nearness and closeness to the God that created everything. That he would bring you through any trial, any tribulation. And I didn't plan to deliver any children. It's just my wife didn't want no Caucasian to touch her anymore.
Yes, sir.
And that's how I ended up doing it. And when you read the same books they got, and then the God is with you too, you can't go wrong.
Beautiful.
The first
Okay,
people, bro, the first person my children saw was me and my wife.
Mm.
When nobody, just me and her. I would be sleeping and she waking up and tell her it's time. I'm not trying to make it seem funny or make it light, but it's a natural order of something that if we understood it, everything would be better, much better.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And thank you all for continuing to watch People's Podcast. Brother Nuridin, I just have one quick commercial break for our sponsors. It'll take 60 seconds, sir, of the People's Podcast this month. I want to thank them all for their continued support. 1 second. Boom, hold on. Here we go. All right. All right. And thank you all for being patient as we get some great history from our Brother Nuridin. Brother Nuridin, what I was asking you earlier, are you going into the ministry, sir?
No, sir. Well, brother, we are ministers if we understood it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me go back again. The study group that initially started in Alexandria, Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
After I left Chicago from working on Mars Mariana, the ministers told us to go back and set up. And so I started with 50 final calls by the grace of Allah and started a study group in Alexandria. And it grew up to about 30 people. And then I left and came to Baton Rouge. Okay, but so I had been in, not to say I don't consider myself as a minister. I just consider myself as a believer. That's all I ever wanted to be, was a brother. To help anytime I can help somebody to do what they got to do, to get where they need to go, and to share something with them so they won't have to go through no unnecessary changes. That's what I just try to be, the best brother I could be to anybody.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I want to thank Street Premier Media Production, Brother Rashad and Jamal. They have a drone camera, 4K camera, and they are working on television, films, and music videos. Please reach out to them if your media needs. My sister Miriam Muhammad, ABC I Love Me, children's and coloring book. Both of are which on Amazon. Make sure we go get that. My sister Naima Muhammad, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to children all across the country. Make sure you get your daughters into ballet. Supreme Men's Clothing in St. Louis, Missouri. I want to thank our brother there for always sponsoring. And if you need some clothes and it's going to be real good, reach out to our brother. He will ship them to you. Raising Black Millionaire, Sister Tia Muhammad. She teaches economic empowerment and development through flashcards to young Black children. So make sure you all support our sister as well. Brother Kenneth Muhammad, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He will ship the bow ties to you anywhere in the country. Exodus, a new way of life. Credit restoration. If you need your credit done A1, they will make sure they look out for you. Also, I'm coming right back to you, Brother Nuridin. Khalid's Boutique, they do custom shirts. So if you all need custom shirts, please reach out to them. They do a great job. Brother Chantel X, the X and Express. They pay you truck drivers to make it across, like to drive across and do refrigeration. Thank you, Brother Chantel. Brother Jabbar Muhammad of Chicago, Client First Construction, painting, carpentry, flooring, and plumbing, etc. Thank you very much, Brother Jabbar. If you're in the Chicago area, make sure you reach out to him. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs in Atlanta, Georgia. If you need some turkey legs, make sure you come down. If you're in the Atlanta area, get some of those. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning service in Chicago. If you need anything clean, reach out to Brother Rashad Muhammad. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you very much, Dad. Last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, a children's book, which is on Amazon, and also No Father, No Excuse. Thank you all for your continued sponsorship. If you would like to make a donation to keep the podcast going, Cash App, the People's Podcast. Thank you very much. Brother Nuridin.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for fun, sir?
Well, if I could do this one thing, go back and I come back again.
Yes, sir.
When two people get married, they're two separate people, right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody been telling us all our life we're supposed to be one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One day I was talking to my wife. And we talk now, bro. A lot of talk. I said, but nobody never told us how to become one. Think about it. All of us who married right now, no one ever told us how to become one.
You're teaching, yes, sir.
And so I asked Allah, and you know how you talk to Allah, and he said, not that like that. For instance, Brother Nuridin, the truth that comes through you to your wife, that's not you, that's me. If it's the truth, she submits to it. The truth that comes through your wife to you, that's not her, that's me. You
yes, sir.
submit.
Yes, sir.
When you both submit to the truth, you become one. One with the God, bro. One. All we got to do is just submit to the truth. And we'll become one.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful teacher, sir.
All
now you say,
praises to
yes, sir. You said what you do for fun, Brother Nuridin?
Well, I like to play chess.
Okay, okay.
And then I got a bunch of grandchildren. Look, my children used to make me mad, bro. My children got children.
Yes, sir.
You spoil the children. You giving them everything. They used to make me so mad. So one day I shut them all up. I said, would you rather your children every time they see me run from me or run to me? Because I could see where my mind was with my children. The closer we were to slavery, I used to beat my children, bro. I mean, I sometimes I think about the way I was raised. My dad used to beat me. My mother used to beat me. I told my mother one day, I said, Mom, if they had the child abuse laws back then, you'd still be in jail. So we grow into complete yet incomplete. We grow into perfection. So as the generation of children I had, I saw my understanding by Allah's grace and mercy change. And see, when I come up, you couldn't say nothing back. You couldn't even look the other way. You got beat. They tortured us. You had to go get a switch or a stick to get yourself whooped with, and you better not bring no liver back. Bro, I came up through segregation, bro. I came up through when white folks, bro, they have not changed. They just was more outright with their evilness and didn't give a damn one way or the other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They would, bro, back during segregation, bro, it wasn't that nice. And I saw signs saying niggas don't let the sun catch you in this town. Going to every door, every store, every place of business in America that a Caucasian owned, we had to go to the back door or the side door. We couldn't go through no front door in America. I grew up during that time. So our children don't have no idea of how demonized this person is. But even in them being a demon, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, who's responsible for the clay? The potter or the clay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look, the Caucasian, all he doing is showing us what is dormant inside of us.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
most people don't understand it. When the Honorable Minister Farrakhan started teaching us about Master Muhammad's mother and Master Muhammad's father and the devil within ourselves, well, that was an eye opener for me to see me. Because if you don't see yourself, you ain't gonna see others. And
Yes,
if
sir.
you don't
Yes, sir.
understand yourself, the most important aspect of what I'm learning, the Bible says, get wisdom, knowledge, but it emphasized above all, get an understanding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nobody, bruh, nobody can do what they don't understand. We know a lot. Here's some people can quote the minister, quote the Quran. Look at the Muslim world who can quote the Quran, but yet they don't understand the meaning of the Quran.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So knowledge is the only means that we know something. It don't mean we understand it.
Beautiful.
Bro,
Well,
it is.
yes, sir. Brother Nuridin, do you watch Netflix?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There's a show on there called Queen's Gambit, and it's about chess. And I think you will really appreciate it because I love chess as well. And
Oh,
if you get a chance, you should watch it. It's about chess. It's a good it's
okay.
a
We
good
gonna
show.
play this.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes,
We gonna
sir.
play.
Yes, sir. Well, I just want you to understand that I have an understanding of chess. I just want you to be aware that I just want you to understand that I have an understanding of chess now.
Oh, it's like learning a bicycle, bro. You'll never forget.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
I'm just old school. You got to bring something to get some.
Yes, sir. But Nuridin, I asked all of my guests, what is their favorite album? What is your favorite album that you like to listen to?
I just like old school, bro.
Yes, sir. Old
Look,
school jazz,
when
old
they
school R&B.
when they played old school period blues, because they had instruments. You
Yes,
think
sir.
about it, they played instruments back then.
Yes, sir. Yes,
They
sir.
had real live bands. The OJ's, Temptations.
Yes, sir.
I mean, old school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And all my children, same way. I don't know. Well, I can tell when somebody that been in my vehicle because they had it off the rock on another station. But I'm old school, bro. And I listen to country and western, classic. My wife got me into classic, got me into jazz. I mean, music, because music comes from us.
Yes, sir.
Even
Yes,
in
sir.
even in the development of reprocreation of life, it's music. If we understood it,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we
Yes,
see
sir.
the final end of it, but it's music. It's part of us.
Beautiful. And Brother Nuridin, what would you like your legacy to be, sir?
One of the greatest gifts that I could say for me is for all my children to accept Islam and live the life of a righteous Muslim.
Praise be to
I
Allah.
sacrificed for that because my parents didn't have Islam, not in the sense, but I understand Islam to the point all truth is Islam.
Yes, sir.
You may not call it Islam, but when they teaching you the truth, they're actually teaching you Islam. But to accept Islam and live the life of a righteous, every father who has Islam want to see his children not following his footsteps, but the mere fact of accept their own and be themselves. And not to say we're not going to have to go through some things and rid ourselves of flaws and faults and weaknesses. But the ultimate end of perfection is to have the kingdom of God, live in it, and be happy and be, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, praise be to Allah. And judging from what I see on Facebook, I've never met your children in person, I don't believe, but the ones I'm friends with on Facebook and the ones I'm seeing now, everybody's Muhammad, Muhammad, Muhammad. So your legacy is definitely living on. Congratulations to one of your sons I saw get married maybe last month or 2 months ago. I saw that you had a son get married, so praise be to Allah for that.
I want to say something about that. When I came into Islam, I never named any of my children a holy name because I was told you're not supposed to mix a holy name and a slave name together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I went to the Bible. Naomi, I got a daughter. Rebecca, I got a daughter. Nikita, I got a daughter. But after the minister gave me my name, I started naming Jabril, Elijah, Akbar, so Amir, Mariam,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's just so much of the teachings that's so relative and real. And when it comes all together, it's like I said, music.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule, Brother Nuridin. May Allah bless you, continue to bless you and your family for you all sacrifice and just being examples of good people, just being nice and kind. And thank your children for setting this up for us. They did a great job. Shout out to the connect with the Wi-Fi and the phone. May Allah bless your wife and continue to bless your wife and family. And inshallah, I look forward to getting a chance to play you in chess, sir.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank my son-in-law. Man, I got some good son-in-laws. Elijah, Taiwan, Brian. I got 3 daughters, bro. I got every man that got sons want his sons to marry a good daughter or a good man. And so I got 3 of the best, 3 FYs.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful.
And I got some good daughter-in-laws. Strong. I mean, I can't thank Allah enough, bro. So I'm gonna stay on this journey until, if it's possible for me to make it to the hereafter. I don't care what it is that I do. If I got to go get the honey, if I got to cut the grass, or I got to milk the cow, I just want to be there.
Same here, sir. Well, thank you, and thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
White son, sir.